This video is about the degradation of armor and equipments in combat, specifically Gano+, and Chaotic. I didn't check barrows because if I was, I'd have to stare at the screen for over 7 hours fighting and taking damage, so not doing that. The first section is a summary of what this is. The second part is some data I took before I started taking clips for this video. Some of them aren't exactly as I'd like them to look, but that's just because server lag changes the time of how long it takes to degrade. And the third section is kind of table context of when each segment of the video is, when I did recordings to prove these or show examples, and hopefully I'll put a table context in annotation form after this is uploaded. So the first section is Gano armor lasts exactly 35,000 hits. This means that if you take or receive damage, that counts as a hit, and that reduces the amount of durability it has. So even if you're to range something that doesn't hit you back, your Gano armor will degrade. And chaotic equipment is 60,000 hits. It's probably 60,000. I'm not exactly sure, but since it takes 12 minutes to degrade 1% when I take and receive, or take and give damage at 2.4 speed, and safe spot at 3 seconds per attack, it points towards this. So this means that in multi-combat areas, it'll degrade much faster. So for example, if you're fighting Dagonoths in the Chaos Tunnel, where there can be up to like 12 of them hitting you, you'll degrade really fast. But if you're to be safe spotting monster, your weapon or armor will be lasting a very long time. And next is the summary. The summary is just an example of how long they'll last under those conditions. This one screen is probably everything you need to know, and the rest of the video is just me proving or providing evidence that what this is true. This first clip is me taking damage from a monster that attacks with a 4-speed weapon, so one attack every 3.6 seconds. What I was doing is I was checking the Gano until I go to 99.8%, and then I start keeping track of the time. At the timer, I use this just to keep track of how far I'm going, since I already knew how long it takes to grade. But it could be used as a reference if you want to check how long it really lasts. So I'm taking damage from this one monster, repeatedly checking until it goes to 99.7, and it turns out it will take 2 minutes 6 seconds. And then now for this one, what I do is I take damage from 2 of them to check whether or not each one stack additively, as opposed to, say, if one of them counts as one hit and the second person counts as half hit or something strange like that. But this shows that since it took half the time as when there was only one of them, it means that they do stack additively and removes you one at a time. So I was waiting to go to 99.6, and then I'm so then I'm 99.5 now, and then I go, and well, that part's done. So this next part is where I go to the gargoyles. They attack with 6-speed attack, and that's at 2.4 seconds. This is to compare whether or not different attack speed makes a difference on how fast your armor or weapon degrades. And since it does, this means that 10 hours, so say, is not really 10 hours, because it depends on what you have, and it also depends on not how fast you attack. So in this one, I'm going to 99.4, and then I start paying attention to this, and it'll turn out that this will take 1 minute 26 seconds, I think it was. So 99.4, waiting a little bit, about time, and soon to be 93. Okay, there's 93. Next one, this is me counting down to 35, so I know when the next one is. And here's me counting down the attack damage using a 2.4 speed weapon, or 6-speed weapon. Actually I think it was 7. So this is me counting down to 35, so keeping track, and 34 to 35. That is indeed 35 attack per 0.1%. This one is showing how long the chaotic rapier lasts, because just because the Gano says 10 hours, or at least Ricky says that. And Chaotic is 10 hours. It doesn't mean both does degrade the same and are 10 hours each. So in this video, it turns out that Chaotic, I found out that the weapon actually lasts longer than I thought it would. Well, longer than the Gano anyways. Not even sure how long Gano is said to last anymore. In any case, this is me fighting Gargoyle, taking damage from Gargoyle. This is to speed up the time of degradation by twice, because 1% means I have to wait 10 times long for a change in my percent, and it takes forever. Repairing weapons do reset your charges, so that's why I'm doing this, so I don't have to reduce it down to 99%, then start taking time from 99 to 98. This one is the Chaotic crossbow. I'm on rapid, so the attack speed is 3. Under the 60,000 hits per 100% degradation. This would mean that I have to wait for a full 30 minutes. This means that I have to wait for a very long time, so yeah. This is why I don't want to do test barrows, because then it degrades in 25 percentages, so that I'd actually have to wait at least 7.5 hours in order to see if it degrades through hits or whatever. And that's it. That's the shortest time. It could even be larger, since 15. That's using math of 15 hours, I think. But Chaotic doesn't degrade in 10 hours either, and neither does Gano+. In this, you'll see that it doesn't end exactly at 30 minutes, and neither do any other exactly end that. It actually ends with 10 seconds over, but that's probably due to server lag. It can't be helped. And the difference in time is actually just 0.6% difference, so it's not a big deal. This extra clip is where I use a Chaotic crossbow instead, because I used the dragon dart earlier. This is just to prove that the duration you're in, the total duration of time you're in combat doesn't matter. It's about how often you hit. So since this one is slower, you stay in combat more often, but you still degrade once they hit 35. That's 35. This next part is where I do a variety of things: throw dragon darts, use crossbow, take damage, whack them with a stick once, just to prove that it is 35 and it doesn't like, you just have a mix of them and it'd be fine. It'll still be 35 per 0.1% degradation. 32, 33, 34, and 35. This one is where I hit and take damage from Gargoyle for 34 of them, and on the 35th one, before 35th one, I check it, and after 35th one, I check it again, and you'll see that I will have lost 1% for that, or 0.1%. This last segment is since all the other times I've been fighting gargoyles, except for that one time when I was fighting the Suquas, there's a chance that because they don't die, it changes the results, and it might not be 35. But in this one, as you'll see, I've been killing several man, taking damage several man, counting down the amount of hits they do, and it really does take 35 hits or damages for any kind of monsters for it to degrade 0.1%.